Friday evening with us. We just wanted this discussion to be really casual for people who are thinking about going into finance, either loosely thinking about it or pretty set on it, because we have a group of individuals who are alumni, well, Jay's a graduate student, from diverse backgrounds within finance. So let's go ahead and introduce them. This is Sean Cameron, who's a portfolio manager at PIMCO. Shiv Dutt, who's a foreign exchange analyst at Goldman, and Jay Liu, who is a graduate student in the econ department at Princeton. He used to do investment banking at Credit Suisse. So first question for you guys is, just tell us a bit about your background and where you worked and where that falls into the financial ecosystem. Start with you, Sean.
Sure. So I'm Sean Cameron. I was class of 05 here at Princeton, and I started at Goldman on the fixed income side of trading, moved to the banking group there, went to business school. Now I'm at PIMCO within fixed income in portfolio management. And what I would say about the ecosystem, kind of where I fit in and how you think about some of the various areas within finance you can fall into, I'd say at a very broad level, I think sell side versus buy side. So do I want to be in a position of providing liquidity and arranging financing for corporations, for sovereigns, for municipalities, et cetera? Or do I want to be in a position of allocating capital, allocating risk, and deciding where to invest surplus capital? So from a very broad perspective, the decision at first can come down to where in the capital formation process you want to take part. And is it at the beginning levels where you're raising capital and arranging transactions and financing, which is more the sell side investment banking type model, or is it the allocation of capital and investing surplus capital, which is more the buy side investment side, which is more where I am right now? You tend to find most transitions happen sell side to buy side, although not always. But that's one way to kind of think about this financial ecosystem and where you fall into it.
Cool. Can you guys hear me? Do you need a mic? Tell me loudness, volume. Is this good, bad, excellent? Hands up if it's good. Cool, perfect. All right, so I'll try and rush to this. Very quickly, background before Princeton, grew up in New Delhi, India. Born, bred, raised. Came to the US for college. Was class of 2011. And ever since graduating 2.5 years ago, kind of really been jumping about from place to place to place. By the way, feel free to jump in with questions at any point, because really the session is meant to be for you. And we have time for questions at the end, but when it's relevant, when I'm saying it, if anything doesn't make sense or think about anything, just jump in. No such thing as a stupid question, only stupid answers. Alright, so ever since graduating, basically my first job out of school was at a hedge fund called Alpha, focused on fixed income. I had done no internships, not interviewed at all before senior year. So I just used to do these crazy things. I did a language program in Russia, junior, I vagabonded across California and back in India. So zero work experience. I couldn't even tie a tie. How many of you can tie a tie in here? No? So way ahead of the game already. Anyways, so Alpha 9, it was I had a few permanent offers, but Alpha 9 gave me a long 5.5-month internship, and I jumped on it because there were a couple of Princeton grads on the team that I was working with, and one of them, Josh Cody from class 06, who I've heard about, very, very smart, top Princeton student, and it just seemed like a really, really good opportunity. Now, they were a very small firm, 17 people in the New York office, and I had zero experience, so they didn't really have a full-time position for me. But one lesson I learned from that experience was that quantitative finance just had that same flavor of hardcore math that I really loved. I was a math major at Princeton. And yet, things progress much faster. Like in research, you deal with one problem and work on it for months, if not longer. And further, there's the opportunity to make a lot of money. So after Alpha 9 finished, I interviewed at a few hedge funds, reached a few final rounds. Bridgewater, which I was very keen on, didn't make it. But I was in a hurry, wanted to keep things moving, so I accepted a consulting position with a company in California. Now what they were doing is they gave me a really good offer. They were offering to train me up and give me a place to stay for about 4 months. In really industry-specific job. So not like the theoretical stuff we do at Princeton, which is amazing, but very often not very applicable. So a lot of Java, J2E, happy to talk more about that later if you guys want. And then send me to a job in an industry of my choosing. Now I chose finance, hoping for a hedge fund or an investment bank. And instead, they sent me to First National Bank in Omaha, Nebraska. How many Nebraskans out here? No? Oh my god, I was so looking forward to seeing one hand go up. Anyways, so that was fun. You know, people told me you've been in New York, San Francisco, and now Omaha, Nebraska, one horse town, you're gonna have like a hell of a time. By a hell of a time, I mean like a hellish time. But it actually, the first like 5 or 6 months were amazing. I was there for like 10 months. It was just one event after another. Happy to talk about it later, but you know, it's kind of digressing. But you know, the moment that was over, I wanted to get back to New York and Wall Street. It was a contract, so the moment that year was up, I started interviewing, got jobs at Goldman at night. And the position at night was actually paying me more. The position was algo trading, which is totally up my line. Very interesting for somebody who wants to combine, you know, interests in math, computer science, and finance. But you know, Goldman was a huge name. The people I interviewed with just seemed really smart. They seemed like the shit, you know, for lack of a better expression. And I'm sure you agree. And why did you leave Goldman? Oh my gosh, I didn't even know. Okay, and finally, Knight had an algo trading fiasco just, you know, a few months before I joined. So, you know, kind of not sure I wanted to go there. So Goldman it is, and I'm currently working, let's see what the question is. So yeah, what I'm currently doing. So I'm currently in a position called frontline, which I'm told is unique to Goldman because whenever I talk to my friends at other banks, they're like, well, give me this puzzle, like, what the hell, like, you're just trying to like, make it sound cool, like frontline, like, you know. But what it essentially is it's like, we're like a bridge between the hardcore tech developers and like various units in the business. So, you know, traders, quants, salespeople, strats, operations, compliance, you name it. So what we do, we're really like a first line of attack to jump in when things break, and they break, you know, multiple times a day, and either fix them very quickly or send them on to the group that's able to fix them better very quickly. Definitely a very interesting position. Great way to learn the business just because you're interacting with so many different groups. And you know, when I remind myself that we're dealing with trade volumes of the order of $50 billion US every day. 50 billion. That's how much money goes to Goldman in foreign exchange only. On the 5th floor. You know, definitely feel important. But long term is probably not what I want to be doing. I probably want to move onto pure trading, maybe work in a small hedge fund. So that's my summary.
Alright, you guys can probably tell that I'm the grad student here, just judging by the way we dress. I'm actually in my last year as a grad student here. This is my 6th year, so I've probably been at Princeton longer than any of you guys. But prior to that, I worked in investment banking in New York for Credit Suisse for 2 years, from 06 to 08, right before the credit crisis hit. Let me just sort of explain how I got into it. In college, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had some idea. I mean, go do some research. I interned for Merrill Lynch and actually fixed income research in my sophomore year. But then 06, when I was graduating, it was a really good year for finance. A lot of firms are hiring. I figured, you know, I have a little bit of interest in it. I've never worked before. Why not just go take a look and see what it's like? So I got a job. I got an offer, and I ended up doing investment banking. And I would say that a lot of the stories you hear about investment banking are probably true. The hours were horrendous. But at the same time, you do learn a lot. I think it's a great opportunity coming straight out from college to be interacting with executives and to be sort of, you know, seeing how they think about their businesses, looking at what strategies they use. So what is investment banking? What is IB or investment banking?
So to the extent that you can take the calculus class while you're here, you actually will retain it because you end up taking derivatives, and that's what your duration is, your second derivative is convexity. So if you're getting into anything related to fixed income or equity derivatives, try to remember some of the calculus that you take. Otherwise, I found that my statistics and probability and econometrics classes have been really useful. I wish I'd taken more in equity while I was here. I think there were a couple of econometrics classes in the economics department. I only took one because it was a requirement, but I didn't go beyond what was called 306 at the time. So to the extent you can take kind of probability statistics, econometrics, it definitely helps out when you're on the investment side. In large part because when you do relative value type trades, you're comparing one security to another, you want to find out whether its spread or its performance is meaningfully different from zero, and you have to be able to test that some way. And to have a toolkit to be able to do that should be valuable. So don't skimp on a statistical framework while you're here. It is important. Other than that, I actually haven't found math beyond calculus to be used at all. If I didn't really entertain going down the economics PhD route while I was here, maybe I should have thought about it more. I've heard that real analysis is valuable if you're considering a PhD. But other than that, as long as you have like a calculus framework, I think everything helps. In terms of whether economics specifically has been useful for me, it happens to have been because PIMCO is a more macro-oriented firm and focuses on economic developments and questions that you wrestle with in a lot of classes here as it pertains to macro and whatnot. So it has been useful for me, although it may not necessarily be for you, and you should really study what speaks to you and where you develop an area that you can become an expert in. The other thing I'd say, a lot of the guys that end up on the investment side as it pertains to equities tend not to use as much quantitative approach in their investing, especially just fundamentally driven investors like deep value type guys. They tend to be much more strategy based in their approach. So think about companies with strong business models and with prospects of strong revenue growth, they're insulated from competition, have wide moats, etc. You tend to actually pick up those skills pretty well in business school. So I went to Harvard Business School from 08 to 2010, and I actually found there that the curriculum was very focused on strategy and finance also, but it definitely pertained much more towards an equity style based investing as opposed to what you can learn here, which is more kind of the mathematical underpinnings and what could be more useful on fixed income or derivatives. So even if you don't get the training here, there are opportunities down the line if you go to graduate school, whether in an MBA program or if you get a PhD or whatnot. So you don't need to cover all of your bases in the time that you have here.
So I guess I kind of jumped into what my role specifically was. I go on in the previous question. I didn't read the question. Shameful. How many of you know, like, just to some extent, how an investment bank is set up? Can somebody explain? Just like very, very good about it. You raise your hand. Yeah. I won't force you, but
What specifically?
just like very kind of overarching description of how's it like, like what are the main divisions or like,
The division?
yeah. Like just very, very high level.
Okay, I think there's like an M&A.
Yeah.
Equities.
So yeah, okay, so that's what you're going more specific than I intended. But just think of it like there's like investment. You can look at it that way. Or you can look at it like investment banking, which is what we can tell you much more about. Or you can look at like trading floors. So that's like two major divisions, and they can't even talk to each other. Like we have an internal IM system going. You can just chat up anybody you want, flirt, or if you can to get some work done. But you can't talk to somebody about investment banking. There's a big X cross saying because run insider trading. So those are like the two big groups. I'm on a trading floor, and on trading floors you have FX, you have equities, you have credit, you have all sorts of different groups. So I'm specifically in foreign exchange. Now in foreign exchange, and this is true of many other groups as well, you have traders who are actually making trades, right? Actually booking trades. In foreign exchange, you're trading currencies. So if you think the US dollar is going to go up relation to the euro, the US dollar, things like that. It gets more complicated. On the trading desk, you have again further divisions. You have options traders, spot traders, forward traders. I'm not going to go into great details. Then you have salespeople who deal with clients. Like big banks like Goldman are market makers. So they give an ask price, an ask and a bid, and they get people matching each of those sides. So you have salespeople who are talking to clients, helping the traders actually make those deals and close them. You have quants or strats, who are basically like the hardcore brains, the people who build all the models that traders use. You have desk quants who help the traders. You have sales strats who basically help explain to salespeople and the clients what the complex mathematical products are. You have operations who basically have this overarching view on what the entire system is like, and if there are any breaks anywhere. And then you have the tech people who build out applications, and Frontline, which is part of tech, which supports applications. So what we do is, my job specifically consists of basically being a support part of the time, which means literally staring at an inbox, emails coming in, multiple emails every second, deciding what's important, what has to be dealt with right away, what would impact the firm, either financially or reputationally, or what has to be passed on to another group, make sure it reaches the right people. And the other aspect of it is actually programming out things, developing. So the hardcore tech people actually develop those applications, and we enhance them, bug fix them, and also do small things. For example, write reports for traders. Recently, for example, a salesperson wanted me to write a report that gives them information on all unallocated trades. Trades are allocated to different accounts. So every hour the report should run, the job should run, send them that information. They need this done very fast. So that's kind of short-term, quick, effective projects that we work on. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about my role specifically. I studied math at Princeton. How that specifically helped me in this role, I think math is just a really, really good training to be able to understand things to a deeper level. But it's not essential. It's really useful, but like I mentioned, it's probably beyond calculus is you're not going to be using on an everyday basis. The one thing I will say though, that my internship at Alpha fixed income hedge fund that I worked at after graduating, the one probably most important thing it taught me was that while math, again, really helps understand things to a deeper level, while finance is necessary and assumed, it's really computer science that is making these places run on a day-to-day basis. And to be able to do good quantitative work, I think you have to be a really, really good programmer and a really, really good computer scientist. Even if you're even the quants, right, who are building mathematical models, most of the time is actually spent programming. So I would, again, not necessary. There's so many different groups. Many of them don't program at all. Definitely not necessary. But I would say a good understanding of programming is, very highly valuable. And so, if you can take a basic computer science person, I would definitely recommend that.
So, I guess because I was in investment banking, the requirement for quantitative skills was a lot lower. For example, at one point we were solving something in some financial statement, and I decided, you could just write an algebra equation and solve for it. And I go to my VP, the vice president, who was I was staffed with on the deal, and he's like, "What is this? Where did this come from? I have no idea." And it was just simple algebra. And the guy had no idea what was going on. He was probably 10 years out from college at that point. But it was, from their perspective, at least in investment banking, it's fine to not really have a good grasp of extremely complicated quantitative skills. And on top of that, they actually have preference for not including extremely complicated quantitative analysis in their books. There was one time where some analysts decided to put a regression on a page book, and the managing director, it was fine for the VP, but by the time the managing director saw it, it's like, are you crazy? Do you want to scare the CEO with this? So I think it varies. I think they're definitely like in fixed income, heavy emphasis on quant. In investment banking, on the other hand, the emphasis is more on being able to execute. So as an analyst, for example, I spend half my life in Excel and the other half in PowerPoint. So you need a good command of being able to create, let's say, I think finance is a very big field. It really depends where you end up in. For some fields, the classes you take here are going to be very helpful. For other jobs in finance, they give you the training when you start. So in the case of investment banking, before you start, there's this entire 2 to 3 week period where they actually get professors from business schools to come and teach you how to do a 3-statement model in Excel, how to do an LBO, leverage buyout model in Excel, how to do PowerPoint and stuff. So a lot of this stuff you will learn on the job. That's my take on it.
So, Jay, you, I guess, already answered this question, but have you guys initially become interested in finance? And where did you learn about finance before you started working or doing any training?
One resource we have while you're here is the Bentheim Center for Finance. That for those of you who are econ or working with, you probably know where it is.
motive, and they used to try to tell me finance is all about efficiency, and I just kind of didn't buy that. Coming to Princeton, I try to do things as pure, abstract, non-applicable as possible, just because I felt that my whole life I need to do practical things. So, for example, I studied ancient Greek just because I thought, ancient Greek civilization was the root of all, Western math, engineering, science, literature, arts, everything. So, I felt practical things would come with time. Tried to take the most abstract math classes. Did a lot of physics, and no experimental physics, only theoretical. So just really try to keep it, as practical as possible. Junior year, I kind of really got disillusioned with math. Fall semester, I remember, junior year was the year I decided to really buckle down, really get solid and focus on theoretical math. Basically evolved from being interested to being committed, and transforming into a professional. I remember taking a few theoretical, really hardcore ones, fall semester. Representation theory, differential geometry, what else, elliptic curves, things you never use in your everyday life or in any quantitative job. It's just way out there. I did really badly that semester, and I reacted the next semester, spring semester, junior year, by really manning up, by throwing myself into this almost a rage of a can-do attitude, bravado, taking 6 hard math classes the next semester. And the result, I ended up getting killed around the term week. I had no idea what was so if you guys ever go through that, never react angrily. I had no idea what was going on in my classes. Failing midterms, I ended up dropping 2 classes that semester. So from 6 I went down to 4. My 2 hardest classes had 2. I gave up on a bunch of research opportunities I had this summer instead, just vagabonding across California and Delhi. And really started to shift my priorities. For me, at that point, math seemed very interesting, seemed very beautiful, seemed pure art, but also applicable. But it just seemed that it was hard enough to understand everything that was done. To actually contribute just seemed like it would take a lifetime, and like I said, very slow-paced. So I just started applying for jobs, whatever I could find. I had no experience, so I remember applying for Goldman, and I didn't even get an interview. Forget about for this position I currently have, I had about 20 rounds. They're famous for doing round after round after round. I remember the final day was in the office from 9 in the morning to 3:30 p.m. Spoke about 15 people. But I didn't even get the first round because they were like, "Who's this random kid?" And I was bragging about my math skills, and I had no clue basically. So I just applied wherever. I got an offer from a trading company called T3 Capital, which basically said, "You know what? Give us $5,000 bucks, put it down. We'll give you some money to trade with." Basically, I think they just wanted my $5,000 bucks, to be honest. I'm sure I would have lost a lot of money for them. I had an offer from a tech company on Wall Street, that catered to Wall Street clients, and from a marketing company that did data analysis. So just all of this, I had really no clue. But then I got after that, and people seemed like they knew that shit. They knew my background. They're from Princeton. I felt really confident, went in, loved it. And so that's really, and kind of everything I've done since then has been preparing me for that kind of work. And I think that's where it really had to be long term. So that's kind of my story with how I got into finance.
Just to change gears here, do you guys notice a specific personality or some sort of characteristic traits that fit best for your certain goals?
I would say for anything related to that's okay.
say tell you about what I think is the ideal quality in a trader, because that's where I intend to move ultimately, and also because on a trading floor, interacting with traders, even though I'm trading specifically myself right now. It's very interesting. What really appeals to me about trading is that it's very, very similar to chess. And a lot of people, I feel chess to a lot of people like this is a boring game, but chess is actually really interesting because it requires this unique combination of hardcore analytical skills. So you got to be precise, you got to be rigorous, you got to be mathematical. But at the same time, there's this huge element of chance. Right? Nobody can calculate all the possibilities. And even at the very top level, even when you're looking at these super grandmasters who can play like 10 games in their head blindfold, even then, there's still a big element of luck in there. I mean, control to some extent, you make your own luck. But there definitely is that element of luck. And there's a huge element of psychology, right? Because very often, the play the man, not the board, right? The best move won't win, but the move that unsettles your opponent the most wins. So I feel trading is very, very, very similar in that respect. You got to be rigorous. You got to, have opinions and think them through. It could be very quantitative in FX, for instance, very macro-based. So it could be, information-based in news. But again, it's got to be logical. So you're not just buying and selling on a whim. USD looks good today. I'm just going to buy some USD. It's got to be well thought out. And even if you make money on a badly thought out trade, you get in big trouble with your manager, right? There's always a strong hierarchy. So you've always got to be logically consistent. But then again, there's always that element of chance. Nobody's smart enough to know all the information, all the variables. and again, psychology. What do you guys think is the most important quality in the trader? One word. Any guesses?
Courage.
Courage, yeah, it's good. You have to be brave, but that can get you killed too. That can get you killed. Yeah. Cunning. That's a good point, yeah. You got to basically outsmart some other people, so that's a very good point. Self-reflection, yeah, that's also good. Yeah.
Emotionally stable.
Emotionally stable, very good at coming closer to what I had in mind. But this is just my opinion. Any others? Emotionally stable is very close to it. Starts with a D. Discipline, yeah, you got it. Discipline. Because you have a strategy, right? Whatever you do is supposed to be based on that strategy. You have a time from when that strategy will end. So if I say I'm going to do blah, 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 you do blah, 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 day 1 you lose money, day 2 you lose money, day 3 you lose money, day 4 you lose money. Oh my God, what am I doing? You freak out and you abandon the strategy. When day 5 you're going to make a killing, right? So you got to have everything planned out beforehand. You can't just randomly change things. And most people do that. So discipline is probably the most important thing. So yeah, I would say this combination of being very analytical, very rigorous in your thinking and reasoning, but also having that element of being able to play the psychology game.
So actually, the behavior you just described there is very reminiscent of something in behavioral finance called the disposition effect. And the thing is that if you can do this experiments, and you can also look at data, actual trade data. What you see is that as the stock price goes up, investors tend to sell more than they should, and as the stock price comes down, investors tend to hold on to it longer than they should. And actually, the guy who did his research on this, he ended up creating his own hedge fund to take advantage of this. So that's one thing.
Can you tell me what's called? That's one.
I don't remember, but you can just look up disposition effect.
Yep.
There's this professor who did the research for this. But going back to what we're talking about, what kind of qualities, I can talk about investment banking. And I remember a time when I was in the analyst pit, which is where all the analysts sit. And we had a VP, vice president, who was also the staffer. He was the guy who would put you on the deal, which determined whether you get to sleep that night or not. And he would come around and he would say, "Hey guys, don't think, just do." And that's sort of the philosophy if you're an analyst going to investment bank. That's what they expect. They expect you to just execute. And of course, you have to take, like I mentioned before, you have to take a lot of bullshit. You have to be able to endure that. But on top of that, I think generally in these professions, you see a lot of people who are, very assertive, have very type A personalities. I think if you're looking at interviews, having those qualities help. But at the same time, you also have to judge the guy. Right? A lot of times, the way these interviews don't try to sell yourself someone who you're not, because when you start the job, people can immediately see that, and that won't work. But at the same time, understand, what they're looking for. And if you feel like if you know you're not the type of person who can endure complete bullshit and doing routine work and not using your brain at all, then that's maybe not the right job you should be looking at. But that's sort of the price you pay. I don't want to I know what I say will be you kind of have to take with a grain of salt, because I was there and then I left the profession. So I don't want to say all negative about investment banking. I think I'm just giving you, these are sort of the things that are not very attractive about the position. But on the flip side, you do learn a lot. I mean, the reason why they give you so much work is because they want you to do it. But on top of that, what you get out from it is you really know the stuff really well, and you understand coming out. Your 2 years as an analyst in investment banking is equivalent to maybe 4 or 5 years in a corporate development job position, right? So you really pick up a lot of stuff. That's about it.
So I'll ask one more question, then we'll move to the audience. So especially nowadays after a recession and the ensuing controversial bailouts by the government, finance is given as frowned upon by a large portion of the public. And I was wondering if those sentiments ever affected you. And I know that's from my personal experience, saying a lot of folks look at me funny when I say that. So how do you respond to somebody who disputes the ethics of going into finance?
I'll start. I mean, you're actually was a good book and research by, I don't know, Bob Show, the guy's idea of financing a good society. It basically lays out the finance industry and why we exist, and the importance of capital formation, and how credit intermediation and countries with well-developed capital markets tend to be wealthier, et cetera, et cetera. So there definitely is a need for the financial sector. I would agree that the financial sector is probably too large as a percentage of GDP, and we're roughly 16% or so. That'll probably come back down to its historical norm, where I think it should. That said, there still is a role for people to add value within financial, broadly speaking, to raise capital, to allocate it, and you can definitely craft your role within the industry and start as a professional and build a career within the industry. So not just have a first job in it. So you should feel good about at least the value that the sector provides in society. And it's not something as tangible as some other sectors where you can physically see the output of your work. Nevertheless, you are, at least in my case, helping to manage your retirement, people's assets that we manage, and both for individuals and for a lot of institutional investors like pension funds, insurance companies, corporate retirement plans, et cetera. So you do see the benefits of your work, and the asset allocation decision and the advice that's given along the way is very important too. This isn't just a zero-sum game discount that either. There are a lot of things that you can do that are interesting, but you'd be working out of an isolation around people who you may not admire or respect per se. And I think you will find that the finance industry still tends to attract a lot of very talented people. There's something to say to that.
So I remember seeing this talk a while ago where this guy was professor somewhere. He's comparing the richest people in the world, like different groups, actors, hedge funders, blah blah blah, how much they made per hour. So if you divide how much they made in the year divided by the number of hours they worked, how much they made. So how much do you think of top actor? I think Angelina Jolie was like number one or something. How much do you think they make per hour? That was the best. Any guesses? Throw a figure out there. I actually asked this question to my mom and she was really close. So. Huh? Per hour? No, more than that. Top actors, yeah, they could have gotten.
50 grand?
Huh?
50 grand.
50 grand? Very close, yeah. Like, I think the top, it's very close. The top actor was like 43 or something. That's the ballpark. How much do you think the top hedge funder, I forget who it was, but I just remember the figure, per hour. So the amount he earned for himself, not for the fund, for himself, divided by the number of hours he worked.